look at some of the actions and behaviours we can observe then in effective hybrid leaders. First of all, they lead with vulnerability. They're not afraid to show their emotions when it's appropriate. They're comfortable, if you like, showing their human side. They celebrate and value difference. Every aspect of diversity, age, experience, culture, thinking, behavioural styles, reward needs, approach to business, communication style, they celebrate and really value all those many differences. They respect and facilitate non-traditional workplace needs. So they're open to finding ways to accommodate those non-traditional needs for flexibility around kind of working hours, around children, possibly even around pets. They're open to looking at the possibilities. Flexible and adaptable, so that readiness to react and respond to the ever-changing environment needs and expectations. And if one thing the last few days have kind of shown us is that just as we thought we were kind of starting to emerge and make progress back to this new normal, whatever that is going to look like eventually, we actually once again are kind of now having to wait for the next 2 or 3 weeks till more information emerges about the new COVID variant. So again, that's kind of, we're constantly having to be ready to be flexible and adapt to the current changes. Nothing is certain. They promote fairness and honesty and transparency, not necessarily treating everyone the same, but making sure that everyone is treated fairly. Not all workers can work remotely, but a hybrid leader will look for the ways they can offer autonomy to people who have to work on site. So that they could be autonomy over specific tasks they do or the time they take their lunches. Small acts of autonomy are really, really important. We have to find ways not just to be flexible about people who can work from home, but also the people that have to work on site. They drive performance without close monitoring and supervision. If some or all employees are remote, driving performance without virtual micromanagement requires 2 things: clear expectation setting and trust. Once employees clearly understand their role and how their performance is measured, and they have the skills and tools to meet their objectives, hybrid leaders get out of their way. They leave them to it. This doesn't mean that you should have regular status updates or check-ins. You should still have them, but you also need to trust that they will do what they say they're doing. We're not constantly on the back checking up all the time. With clear direction and support, if they don't perform, there should be processes then in place to address those issues. We said earlier about champion employee development. So hybrid leadership in action is about equipping employees with the skills required now and in the future to provide internal and external development opportunities, offering coaching and mentoring as part of each employee's development. Leaders make themselves visible to all employees, ensure that remote workers also have equal opportunities to show off their ideas for learning development and for managers just as much as they do the office-based colleagues. So it's all about that kind of fairness of access to leadership development, to getting themselves heard, making themselves visible, being seen. Communicate effectively across multiple channels. So according to the MIT Sloan Management Review, the nature and mix of teams and their tasks dictate the communication channels which hybrid leaders use. So for example, teams that can work quite interdependently, but without much integration. So teams, for example, that are responsible for performing admin tasks, making simple decisions, sharing information, drafting documents, etc. They can communicate quite easily virtually through something like Slack, for example, or Zoom. Likewise, one-on-one interactions can also be done through some of the virtual platforms, Zoom, Teams, etc. So with the right technology in place, most interactions that can be done in person can be done effective virtually also. That's not saying we should always do everything virtually. That's just saying it is possible to do so. So it's finding the appropriate time, and that's something we'll touch on later. Empower employees to collaborate by connecting office-based workers with remote workers. A really, really important thing to do. Make sure that you don't end up with an office-based team and remote team. So create inclusive team climates, independent of employees' work locations, connect people with one another and support them, all to contribute and all to be productive, irrespective of whether they're office-based or remote-based. For example, you can implement some of the many new communication, collaboration platforms that facilitate that asynchronous work among people in different time zones and different work schedules. You can build trust and psychological safety so dispersed workers actually feel safe sharing their challenges with teams for collaborative problem solving. So you could run virtual workshops where people can just get to know one another better and learn about one another's skill sets and strengths. I did one the other day and we were using the Jigsaw tool, and I got each person in the team then to do a little mini presentation about their strengths, their skills, their preferences, their dislikes, things that frustrated them. And at the end of it, although the team had actually worked together for the past 12 to 18 months now, they actually said how useful it was just to be able to step out of the workplace and just spend that time getting to know each other in a slightly different kind of way. So it can be a really good investment of time.